Hey, it's Zax from Ready Check Pull, and I'm here to tell you about what's going on with Arms Warrior in Shadowlands. I'll go over the biggest changes from BFA and then let you know how I think the spec's going to play out overall. I don't really even know where to start with Arms, to be honest, because the changes that have been made all have cool synergies with each other. But basically, there's been one big baseline change and a bunch of talent changes. A lot of the changes happen mid-alpha too, so I'm happy to see Blizzard trying things out. Anyway, I could talk about the spec for hours, so let's just get right into it. The big baseline change is that its mastery got slightly redesigned. It's still the Deep Wounds bleed applied by certain abilities, but now Deep Wounds buffs your damage to any affected targets. Also, now the bleed part does less damage itself. This means it'll be a much smaller portion of your damage, but it will still be super impactful to maintain. I'm a huge fan of this change, because it never really felt right to me to see a passive bleed as your highest damage by a mile. And this should help Arms get its unique identity back with just absolutely massive mortal strikes and executes. Speaking of execute, its base damage got buffed, but it no longer applies deep wounds. The intention of this change seems to be that you'll still want to use Mortal Strike in execute range for deep wounds. That way your overpower stacks aren't being completely wasted, and the rotation doesn't devolve into just 2 buttons as it has for a while. And you end up with even bigger executes, which is a win-win in my book. As for the talents, Cleave has seen the most change so far. It already got redesigned at the beginning of Alpha, and that version was actually not bad. But now what we've got is even better, I think. First of all, it now replaces sweeping strikes, which I'm a fan of. It doesn't have a 3-target requirement anymore, which I'm a fan of. And it now gets buffed by overpower, which I'm a big fan of. So they've turned it into a straight up AOE Mortal Strike. And I've been hoping for something like that for a while. I could go on and on telling you about how good it feels to press, but you really just have to try it out for yourself. Another talent that got a sick change is Dreadnought. It still gives Overpower an additional charge, which is great, but the best part is that it gives Overpower AoE damage. It's almost identical to the BFA Azerite trait Seismic Wave, causing a small shockwave on the ground that does damage to up to 5 targets. I love playing with Seismic Wave in dungeons in BFA, so I'm happy to see it carry over. I guess I just like that it makes Overpower not feel like a wet noodle filler in AoE. The last big talent change is that Ravager finally chases enemies. People have been asking for this since the day it came out in WoD, and I've seen too many soul-crushing moments where a giant pack of mobs gets pulled slightly too far away from a Ravager. Hopefully those days are gone, but I guess now we just have to hope that Blizzard gets the coding right and Ravager actually goes where you want it to go. Either way, I'll take it. So with the new mastery, the baseline single target gameplay boils down to keeping your 2 short cooldowns, Colossus Smash and Bladestorm, on cooldown, using Mortal Strike and Overpower on cooldown while spending Excess Rage on Slam, and when the target is below 20% health, spending Excess Rage on Execute instead, while only using Mortal Strike to maintain deep wounds. The baseline AoE gameplay gets a little weird because it changes based on exactly how many targets there are, but it's generally the single target stuff while using Sweeping Strikes with Colossus Smash on cooldown, replacing Slam with Whirlwind, and Mortal Striking different targets to have deep wounds on multiple mobs. Arms is looking like it's going to be better than usual in Mythic Plus this expansion. With the new Cleave, new Mastery, and new Dreadnought, it feels like Arms is actually just pumping AoE every single trash pack. And then it has big old Bladestorm on top of all that. So it definitely has a good damage profile for dungeons. However, the issue with Arms in Mythic Plus has usually been about its lack of utility and survivability. With no AoE stun, no baseline single target stun, and no long-term CC, you tend to feel kinda helpless while everyone else handles the mechanics. But hey, maybe there'll be some shenanigans to pull off with Spell Reflect now that it's been unpruned. The only thing that I'm still hoping will change for Arms, and this is very minor, is the removal of Slam. It's gotta be one of the most boring abilities in the game, right? And Whirlwind also fills the same filler Rage Spender role. There's even a heavily used talent that takes Slam out of your rotation in favor of Whirlwind. So it's almost like Blizzard knows Slam is kinda whack, but it's just stuck there for some reason. It's definitely a really minor thing though at the end of the day. I'm excited to see what the Covenant abilities, legendaries, and soulbinds bring to the table for Arms. Either way, I already know I'm going to be playing it a ton because the improvements so far are nuts. If you like this little review, give us a like and feel free to check out any of the other specs I cover. And let me know in the comments or in our Discord which specs you want to know about next. Also, if you like what we do here, please consider supporting us on Patreon. It helps more than you know. Links to everything in the description. See you next time.